Welcome to the second half of class. You'll be happy to know that most of the heavy lifting for this class has been completed. We still need to take a lot of the things we've learned from the first part of the class and translate them into something called a marketing plan. But as we're doing the marketing plan, we'll really introduce a couple of new concepts. One will be a marketing program that we'll talk about next week. The other will be forecasting. We've worked some with income statements, but we haven't started to do much forecasting yet, and so that's going to be next for us. So let's go. I'm now in the learning modules in the course, opening a marketing plan, and you will see a one-page Word document this time. And just a very brief recap of some of the objectives we worked on in the first half of class, and pointing out that in the second half of class, what we'll be finishing up with a marketing plan is really something called developing positioning strategies, which are really using the marketing mix elements to allow us to achieve objectives of our marketing plan. I'll also point out here that you definitely need to go to your wiki, go to Wikipedia and read about marketing plans. As you see here, marketing plans may be part of an overall business plan. That's a little misleading. It's almost impossible to have a business plan without a marketing plan, because a marketing plan includes things like products, product forecast, pricing, all sorts of things that are required for the rest of the organization to do their jobs. As a matter of fact, in the marketing planning process, marketing planners and product managers will begin usually in March or April putting together a strategic plan for the following year. That plan, including forecasts by product level, will then be submitted to the rest of the organization so they can develop their own plans, capacity planning, finance can make sure you have enough cash, and all sorts of things like that. So be sure you take a read of this. It's not going to take you more than about 15 or 20 minutes. You'll see a lot of our old friends, and I'll show you how those are going to pop up a little bit later. But here's Porter's 5 forces analysis. Here's the macro environment. All of the things that we've already worked on we'll see coming out in the marketing plan. Now, when we start a marketing plan, I always like to use a template, even after having written dozens, maybe even hundreds over the years, and certainly having read hundreds. I use a website called bplans.com, and under bplans.com there are some sample marketing plans. When you move to the sample marketing plans, bypass these initial plans. They're in a little bit different format. They're not as good as I'd like. And move down to the alphabetical listing and find a company something close to your company. If you're an entrepreneur and you're heading in the future into developing your own business plan and beginning with a marketing plan, this is a real good place to start. And so what I want to do, you don't have to find something exactly like your company, but you do need to make sure that if it's a company that sells a physical product, use a template for a marketing plan that's a physical product. If it's a company that sells a service, you use a service marketing plan. And so I'll kind of randomly here pick a pasta restaurant marketing plan. And we'll open it up, and I should begin with kind of a disclaimer. While these are nice templates for you and can give you some insight into the elements that are in a marketing plan, there's no guarantee at all that these marketing plans will be good marketing plans. What they do have are the headings I want you to complete, and they're about the size we're talking about. Most of these run about 10 or 12 pages. Your own assignment for your final individual assignment is going to be a little bit shorter than that, and so they really help you kind of understand how much you need to have in each of the sections. One of the things that's almost always very poor in these in the marketing plans are the executive summaries. We're going to save that for last, so we're about 4 or 5 weeks away from getting to it, so I'm not going to talk much about exactly what's going to be on that. Yeah. As we open up the marketing plan, what we will find again is our old friends, demographics, market summary, from our industry analysis and market, It's important, though, to note here that you won't see a heading that says Porter's Five Forces Analysis. You often won't see a heading that says Product Lifecycle. What you will see instead is Market Growth. And so we don't want to use the same headings that we used for the Porter's analysis, for example. But with the Porter's analysis, if we found that mergers and acquisitions were likely in the category, that would be a marketing trend that would drop in here. So the way to think of it is using the case analysis as tools to create the facts and the decisions that you're going to drop into the marketing plan. You'll see market needs here. This is the first stage of buyer behavior. With the buyer behavior on the midterm, I had you just look at a couple of buyers here. We'll expand that a little more. And in this case, we see a pasta company. Customers are looking for selection, accessibility, customer service, competitive pricing. I don't know why it doesn't say good food on here. It seems like it should. A SWOT analysis is something we haven't done yet, but I think it's something that you'll find very simple to do. Something I've never had a student, I can't remember ever even seeing one that wasn't fairly well done. So we talk about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A little section for competition, just as we found on Yahoo Finance. You can click on competitors and you can find those kinds of people that compete. You also need to think a little bit about substitute products along with direct competition. And then here you will have either a service offering or a product offering where we list the things we sell. It's a very simple little listing. What are the kind of things we do? So the first thing that's a little bit new, not even completely new to us, is the last part of the situation analysis. And that's the keys to success and critical issues. This is another place I don't like these marketing plans because I have no idea how something could be a key to success and not be critical. I have no idea how an issue could be critical and not be a key to success. So I dump these together. I'll sometimes even call them critical success factors, or just stick with the keys to success. Now, at the end of your midterm, I forced you, and some of you had difficulty doing so, I forced you into selecting one problem or one key to success. You now have the ability to expand that, but you still don't want to get crazy and just go into a 10K and go grab a list of 15 different things. You want to really have important issues here. Keep it to somewhere around 4 or 5 in this keys to success. And this keys to success will allow us to launch our marketing plan. A marketing strategy, this will be typically a brief summation of your positioning, the overall, what you're overall trying to do with the company. So this is really just kind of an introductory paragraph. You'll have the mission for the company. Most of you should be able to find that. If you don't, it's usually pretty easy to create a short one. You're looking at something that's 2 or 3 sentences. And here then becomes something, again, new for us in terms of marketing objectives. And basically what we're going to want to do for each of these things that's a key issue is have a marketing objective to address that. So you see here a lot of specifics too. Marketing objectives need to be something we call SMART, and I'll go ahead and show you what that is. SMART objectives are, well, I said that, but yeah. And you'll see it also SMARTer, but I don't see much need for the last two here. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. That makes a good objective. And as you look at this, the first one here is a good, well, it's not particularly good objective. It's not specific enough, but if you combine it with the second one where they're talking about $40,000 in sales a month, now you're getting specific. You can have financial objectives if you want. There's not really any rule that talks about the difference in marketing and financial objectives. But with our financial objectives, we usually put in here our overriding objectives. Revenue growth will often have a profit margin and our operating margin goal and our financial objectives. Target market shouldn't be new to us. Here's how we can segment the market. Here's the way we divide up our customers. It can be a geographic, it can be age, it can be any of a variety of different things. And a positioning here is a concept associated with the place that we occupy in customers' minds. We'll be working next week on a company I think everybody's going to be pretty familiar with. It's Buffalo Wild Wings. And Buffalo Wild Wings has kind of positioned themselves as a kind of a youthful, fun kind of party place. You have to be a little bit careful of some of these videos you look at because you can run into some really wild stuff. But it's a place to go and do more than just have food. A lot of sports, a lot of fun, a lot of contest. They really try to build little communities of people that gather together. And that's how they're positioned. We'll have an exercise in a couple of weeks where we'll work on this, so don't worry too much yet if you don't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about. Now, the biggest fallacy or mistake or just something that's just purely wrong about these marketing plans is this particular company introduces something called a strategy pyramid that you don't really see much anywhere else. It is kind of, if you think back to our corporate business and marketing strategy, that's kind of what they're doing with the strategy pyramid, saying that, you know, we begin with the basis of our corporate strategy, then we decide how to differentiate and who to go with. But this isn't, it's just not useful to us. And what we're going to do is replace strategy pyramids with something called marketing programs. And again, that'll be the focus of next week's discussion. Along with the marketing programs, we will make strategic decisions on occasion in the marketing mix elements. We may just say, for example, we're going to completely change our distribution. We're going to move from a selling only in a restaurant to selling only online or only to-go orders. So we may make marketing mix decisions, marketing mix strategic decisions that aren't really marketing programs. And again, don't worry too much yet about the distinction between the two. We have a small section here on marketing research. You're not going to know much about the company or the needs for marketing research, but I'll ask you to, make a couple of comments here about the kinds of information you'd like to have. Our next section, section 4, is kind of the heart of it's the numbers associated with a marketing plan, and our particular section, though, is going to be much, much smaller than you see here. There's all sorts of stuff and all kinds of graphs and things. We're going to be much simpler. We're going to use the exact same format that we've been looking at all semester. I'm just picking Amazon here. It's a company we've looked at several times. We're going to go to the income statement, and we are going to forecast the rest of this year, in other words 2011, which will be pretty easy because we have a couple of quarters of data already, and then we'll forecast 2012. This can look a little bit intimidating right now, but we have all sorts of help for us. If we notice here and we click on our analyst estimates, we'll see that our analysts have already done things like forecast revenue and earnings for us. So we'll talk about how we work our way through a forecast. We will forecast down to operating income, and we'll do that for the rest of this year, for the rest of 2011, and for 2012. So all of section 4 kind of goes away with the exception of those 5 or 6 lines from the income statement. And all of section 5, controls, goes away because you just don't know things like, Kevin's the manager of a particular department. It's not particularly useful. This is a tool that allows organizations to determine accountability. So it's not difficult to do. It's just that we don't have the information we need to do it. What we do have, however, is a need to do some contingency planning, and I'll ask you for one or two contingency plans, and you notice here these are very short. I'll ask you for a short contingency plan if we are in a recession next year or if economic growth takes off. In other words, right now, any marketing plan would have to be built under the assumption of about 1.5 or 2% growth for next year. And that certainly isn't assured. What if next year we're back in a recession, or what if next year the economy's really taken off and we're back to 3-4% growth? So we just want to make some comments here, and our contingency plans will often be things like delay advertising, delay the opening of a new store if we're in a recession. If things are going really well, it'll be just the opposite: increase advertising, open new stores at an accelerated pace. And that's it. So hopefully this hasn't been too intimidating, and what I want to point out to you here is that on the home page we do have an assignment, and I went ahead and made it due next Tuesday. I know it's short notice, but it's also a very short assignment. And so what it is, we're going to begin, and we're going to work our way through the marketing plan just like we did the case analysis, using the group companies first. And all I want to do is have you go ahead and provide me those 3 to 5 key or critical success factors. Let's see, where is the assignment? Why isn't it showing? Sorry, having some problems here. I think I've ended up in, yeah, I was clicking on the wrong thing. Combine these two topic areas, key issues and critical success factors, into one section and create 3 to 5 bulleted points. Then write about 1 paragraph for each of the key issues or critical success factors. So 3 to 5 critical success factors with a very brief description, just to remind me what's important to your company and what you're going to be building your marketing plan to try to achieve. I also need you to take this opportunity to find out who's left working in groups. We did have a number of people who I guess kind of surrendered with the midterm and didn't complete one or turn one in. So it's difficult for me to tell exactly how many people are still active in each group. So as you are submitting this, please let me know if your group is still functional. Let me know how many people are in the group, are still active in the group. If we have groups that need to be collapsed and combined, this will be the time we do so. And I will talk with you again next week.